If you think about it, the first image consultants were the mothers, way back when. It was the moms, centuries ago, who were coaching their sons on that visual image. From there, it went to the clerks in retail settings, as primitive as they may have been originally or not. And from there, we went to teachers into the schools. Now, it was not on a broad spectrum. In America, we had the home economics classes in clothing and textiles, and that's where many of the people were taught about how to dress, how the things work together. So the home with the parent and then the school. But you know, in most recent years, we're losing all of that. Where this downtrend began was in the 1950s. We had a generation coming along whose parents had grown up in the Great Depression. Now, those parents had virtually nothing at one time. The children, they wanted to give their children everything that they'd never had. And in the process, a lot of those children became relatively spoiled. They had enough to eat. They certainly had clothes on their back. They had a place to live. They had a car, all sorts of options. But because young people so generally want to separate themselves from the parent, want to assert their independence from the parent, they often use the clothing as a way to make a statement of independence. And along came a fellow by the name of James Dean. James Dean was later in the movies known as the rebel without a cause, to which I have to say, the guy didn't even have a cause, and look what he did. He had plenty to wear, plenty to eat, a place to live, a car. So all he could think of that he could do to make a statement for himself was to wear his underwear on the outside. He took his white T-shirt, which had always been underwear for his father and grandfather. He started wearing it on the outside. In fact, he rolled his cigarettes up into the sleeves. Now, that was shocking at the time to see that white T-shirt worn on the outside. As we moved into the 1960s, really a turbulent area of history, time in history, when everything was a matter of down with established ways of doing things. The anti-establishmentarianism, a big word at the times, but even dress was an established way of doing things that started to get lost. So putting away even established ways of dress. And that moved into high gear into the 60s. Jeans became prominent. As we moved into the 70s, we had the hippie movement, which was very loose-flowing, kind of sloppy kind of clothing. Hairstyling got very sloppy. As we moved into that 1970s period, the 60s became the populists. And they were very sloppy, loose-fitting, the hair quite dangly, stringy, lots of loose beards, but nothing taken care of in the personal appearance. At the same time, with the relaxed dress, we got relaxed manners. There was a fellow by the name of John T. Malloy. And John T. Malloy, a teacher, realized that the students weren't being very respectful to the teachers anymore. He decided it had something to do with dress because the teachers were starting to get sloppy in their dress. Now, John T. Malloy researched the clothing books about menswear, got back into one called Dress Smart from the 1920s, and he rewrote it, completely rewrote it with an emphasis on business, and he called it Dress for Success. Now, that term, Dress for Success, has gone worldwide, a global recognition for Dress for Success. And in that sense, the public took hold, they listened. With dress getting so casual, John T. Malloy put everybody into a suited look, even a gray pinstripe suited look. Now, the problem with that, John T. Malloy went too far, one direction. It was predictable that not everyone had to wear a gray pinstripe suit, and there would be a backlash, and there literally was a backlash. Now, that backlash came late into the 70s, into the 80s.